What if I told you the biggest threat to your financial future isn't a stock market crash, or inflation, or even recession? What if the biggest risk to your money is you? Okay, let's dive into this, because once you get the psychology of money, it can literally change everything. To see what I mean, you just gotta look at these two stories. On one side, you have Grace Groner. She was an orphan, worked her whole life as a secretary, lived in a tiny one-bedroom house, and when she died at age 100, she left $7 million to charity. Then, on the other side, there's Richard Foscone, Harvard-educated top executive at Merrill Lynch, went bankrupt in the same year Grace passed away. I mean, how is that even possible? Well, the answer is right here in this brilliant quote from author Morgan Housel. He says, financial success isn't really about how smart you are. It's not about your fancy degree or your complex spreadsheets. It's about how you behave. It's a soft skill where your psychology is actually way more important than your intelligence. So that really begs the question, right? What are these mental glitches that can make a humble secretary wealthier than a Wall Street exec? Let's get into it. To figure this out, we've got to look at the engine room of our decisions. And this idea comes from the Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman, who basically explained that our brain has two very different operating systems. Think about it like this. You've got System 1, which is your brain's autopilot. It's fast, it's instinctual, it's totally emotional. It's how you know 2 plus 2 is 4 without even trying. Then you have System 2, the co-pilot. This one is slow, deliberate, and logical. It's the one that has to kick in when you're asked to solve, 17 times 24. And here's the most important part. System 1 is our default setting. It's totally effortless. But our logical System 2, man, it takes a ton of energy, and it gets tired really, really easily. You know that feeling after a long day of making tough decisions, you're way more likely to just order a pizza than cook a healthy meal? Yeah, that's your System 2 being totally wiped out. And here's the crucial point. When it comes to our money, we love to think we're using our logical System 2. But the truth is, most of the time, we're letting that fast, biased, and super emotional System 1 take the wheel. And that's where all the trouble starts. So what's the first big mental trap our brain's autopilot sets for us? I like to call it the luck and risk coin. Housel just puts this so perfectly. Luck and risk. They are two sides of the exact same coin. They're both just the reality that a lot of outcomes in our lives are guided by forces that have nothing to do with our individual effort. And this is such a classic System 1 bias, right? When we succeed, we're quick to say, oh yeah, that was all my skill. Think of a CEO who's called a genius for a good quarter. But when we fail, oh, that's just bad luck. Our brains have a really hard time accepting that these outside forces, things we can't control, play a huge role in both our wins and our losses. All right, let's move on to the next mental glitch, which kind of builds on this. It's called the man in the car paradox. This is one of my favorite ideas ever because it is so true. Our fast, emotional System 1 sees a Ferrari and it immediately jumps to the conclusion that owning that car will get us respect and admiration. But here's the paradox, the part our brain misses. Nobody is as impressed with your stuff as you are. Seriously. Other people don't see you in a fancy car and think, wow, he's so cool. No, they use your car as a new benchmark for what they want. It's just a hamster wheel of trying to signal success, and it never actually gets you the respect you are looking for in the first place. Okay, so if our brains are just hardwired with these glitches that make us misjudge everything and chase the wrong things, what's the solution? Well, it starts by completely redefining what wealth actually is. So let's just take a look at the master Warren Buffett. This table is absolutely mind-blowing. By his 50th birthday, he was already a multimillionaire. But just look at what happens next. The secret wasn't earning these insane off-the-charts returns. It was earning pretty good returns that he could stick with for an incredibly long time. And this is where the math just gets absurd in the best possible way. About 97% of his entire net worth came after his 65th birthday. That's not some genius-level skill. It's not raw intelligence. That is just the brutal, unstoppable power of compounding over time. And that right there reveals a powerful secret, one that goes against everything you see on social media and TV. We are trained to think that wealth is about spending more, about having more stuff. The reality, it's the complete opposite. Wealth is what you don't see. It's the income you didn't spend. It's the car you didn't buy. Being rich is a current income. But wealth is hidden. It's the money that's working for you behind the scenes, giving you options. Okay, but that's a fair question, right? If the whole point of wealth isn't to buy fancy cars and big houses, then what's the point? Why bother building up all these unseen assets in the first place? And this brings us to the ultimate, most important takeaway. The greatest value of money isn't stuff. It's the ability to wake up every single morning and say, I can do whatever I want today. It's freedom. It's having control over your time. It's autonomy. So I guess this is the question I want to leave you with. Take a look at your own life and ask, is your money buying you things or is it buying you freedom? Because understanding that difference, that is the real secret to wealth.